And the whole idea of animal platforms sort of came about because of a coincidence. I mean, there's an old Chinese province that says, no coincidence, no story. But in this story, in this coincidence, there really is a story behind how this whole process came about. I mean, everyone I think is aware of the Argo float system, which has completely transformed oceanography over the last almost 2 decades now. That technology worked with a system confusingly called the Argos satellite system, which was a system of eyes in the sky that was begun back in the mid-1970s. The fact that they have a similar name is unrelated. Argo is named after the ship of Jason the Argonaut, and it was a ship in which he used to travel about the oceans. And Jason happens to be the name of an early satellite system that measured the height of the oceans. So Argo floats were hooked to this Jason system as another oceanographic thing that involved satellites effectively. And the Argos system, Cielos Argos, came along and was present when those systems began and was used to transmit that information. So Argos really isn't eyes in the sky. The eyes are all these little platforms that were sent about the ocean to try to send data. Well, back in 1999, we just happened to be talking to a couple of biologists and a physical oceanographer for the first time who were at the Norwegian Polar Institute. And these guys said, we would like to be able to use narwhal to find out information about the freezing fjords in Svalbard so that we could get data during the wintertime when it's very difficult to be up there. It's pitch black. It's not a nice time to be there. Is there any chance of that? And we had happened to have developed just about that time a set of tags that used Argos to relay information from the animals themselves about where they were and their behavior. And also we had a temperature sensor on it. And we learned from the oceanographer, actually what you could do is just temperature is critically important to us oceanographers, but if you could send salinity and as well as temperature as a function of depth, that data is the data that we really need. And we said, yeah, that sounds like an idea. We tried to do this. So we began this system in response to talking to a physical oceanographer who just happened to be chatting with a couple of biologists and suggested the process. And this was back in 1999. So the first animals began sending back ocean data from a fjord in Svalbard in about 2001, just about the time the Argo float system was beginning. And so we kind of modeled what we were doing on that system and said we could see that the Argo float system was going to transform physical oceanography and that we could contribute to that. And we also recognized it was possible that the animals could do things that the Argo floats couldn't do quite the same way. They could go to places that could work amongst ice in shallow areas near the continental margins and so on, that Argo floats don't work quite so well. And we could then effectively add another dimension to this ocean observation system. Well, the other coincidence is that in 1999, the very first Ocean Obs meeting in this series began. So that was 30 years ago. So all those things sort of came together. The result of that was in Ocean Obs 09, 10 years on from the first one, we were able to say that we were already in the process of putting together a system that runs sort of in parallel with the Argo float system that can generate information from all over the globe and aid this need for ocean data. Now we're at Ocean Obs 19, another 10 years on, and both those systems have been up and running, and the amount of data they both collected is vast, and they have both made a big difference. And the animal one it's probably a little bit more preliminary. It doesn't send quite data in quite the same way as the Argo float system, but oceanographers are now coming to terms with that, and we've also taken steps to make that data very easily available to ocean observers in a freely accessible database, modeled again on the way that Argo floats deliver the data, so that this data can be used as broadly as possible. And what we're hoping in the next decade is to improve these instruments, increase the range of the different parameters they can measure to beyond just the physical ones to biological ones, but also link in another important thread in ocean observation, which is the observation of the animals themselves and the consequences on the animals of things that we do to the ocean. So now a lot of these devices are being produced to actually give you very detailed information of the animal's behavior and how it's responding to its immediate environment. So if you come to the stand here, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a range of techniques that allow us both to observe the ocean directly, but also observe the animals within the ocean and put it into an oceanographic context. And that's the idea of the exhibition.